Hello students, welcome to video series on immunity, immune system, immunology, immunologist. So in this moment, let me explain the types of immunity, immune system. So what is immunity, immune system? How does it is functioning? What is guardian system? What is the role of immune system in our body? What are the key components of immune system? What are the specific role of immune system? Then, what are the types of immune system? So, today our concept is types of immunity, immune system. So, there are various types of immune systems are found in humans or in organisms. So, based upon the nature, immunity has classified into two types. What are the two types of immunities? What are their roles? Who are responsible for two types of immunities? What are the cells involved in the immune system? Who are responsible for these two kind of immune system? For all these questions, we are going to find out the answers. First of all, what are the two types of immunities, immune system? Based, based upon nature of response, the immune system has classified into two types. Now, the first one is innate type of immunity. The first one is innate type of immunity. First type of immune system is, you can see that innate type of immunity. First one is the innate type of immunity. Innate type of immunity. First one is innate type of immunity. And the second one is acquired immunity, adaptive immunity. So these two types of immunities are generally seen. Now let us talk about the first type of immunity, that is innate type of immunity. What is innate type of immunity? How innate type of immunity is processed? Who are responsible for innate type of immunity? What are the various barriers that are responsible for innate type of immunity? For all these questions, we are going to find the answers. Now, the inborn immunity. We are receiving this kind of immunity by birth from mother or father through the genetic information or chromosomes. Now, this kind of immunity is called as innate type of immunity. Now, the innate type of immunity is processed by all living organisms. That is one more important point. So, the innate type of immunity, it is non-specific. It is non-specific. It is non-specific type of immunity, non-specific type of defense immunity or defense system that could not depend upon the prior contact with infectious diseases or disease causing microbes. Now, the different barriers are involved in the innate type of immunity. What are the various barriers involved in the innate type of immunity? The first barrier is physical barrier. First barrier is physical barrier. Second one is physiological barrier. Third one is the cells or the cellular barriers, cells related barriers. Fourth one is the cytokine. Fourth one is the cytokine. These four different types of barriers generally seen in the innate type of, or which are influencing the innate type of immunity. As a physical barrier, skin we can consider it. Why? Because skin is the outermost external organ, largest organ that contains large amount of sebum produced by the sebaceous glands, even the sweat produced by the sebaceous glands present on the skin. Now, this special prior physiological barrier, which is playing a key role in increasing immunity against some disease causing microbes. Here, even the mucus, if you see, mucus is also considered as one of the physiological barriers. Who produces the mucus? Mucus is produced by mucus glands. Mucus is produced by mucus glands. Mucous glands are located in the gastrointestinal tract. Mucous glands are present in the stomach, large intestine, small intestine. These are richly supplied or contain this mucous glands. Now here, the mucus, how it acts as a physiological barrier. Sorry, how it acts as a physical barrier. The physical barriers like mucus that contains an enzyme called lysozyme. An enzyme called lysozyme. Lysozyme is an enzyme which contains some highly active substances which can act upon the microbes or microorganisms. Whenever the mucus secretions occurring, along with these mucus secretions, lysosome also going to be produced. When lysosome produces, lysosome acts upon these microbes and undergoes for certain kind of sequential reactions. Because of these enzymatic reactions, temperature going to be produced. So as we know, temperature is also one of the physical barrier. If this is the temperature, if the temperature increases gradually, it shows that our immune response is good or immunity going to increase. Let me say an example. During vaccination, what will happen? Our body immune system shows highest amount of temperature. When you have taken the vaccine, body temperature gradually going to increase. That shows our immunity going to increase. Our immunity is continuously rapidly growing. That is the sign of immune response. Now here, whenever the temperature increases because of these physical barriers, what will happen? They are going to kill the microbes or germs or microorganisms. So as you know that the buccal cavity mucous membrane, esophagus mucous membrane, stomach mucosa, large intestine, small intestine mucosa richly contains the lysozyme. Even the respiratory trachea, respiratory bronchus, bronchioles, lung surfaces richly contains this mucus. Let me say an example. During vigorous infection of tuberculosis in the lungs, what will happen? Highest amount of mucus going to produce. Sputum going to release into the mouth. Whenever this sputum comes out into the mouth, what will happen? That it is indicating the infection is gradually increasing in the lungs. So that's why immediate medication we have to take by consulting a doctor or a physician in the hospital. Then, if we carefully see the physical barrier is completely different from physiological. So the best example for physiological barrier is hydrochloric acid. Hydrochloric acid. Whenever this hydrochloric acid released in the stomach, what will happen? It acts upon the microbes that are present in the ingested food. So by acting upon these microbes, what will happen? It is going to kill the germs present in the ingested food or the food that is present in the what we can call the stomach. The concentration of hydrochloric acid that is present in the stomach, it is about 1.5 to 2.5. It is highly acidic in nature. 1.5 to 2.5. The highly acidic pH, HCl is present in the stomach. This highly acidic pH contained HCl won't damage to the walls of the stomach. Why? Because due to thick layer of mucosal layer. There is a thick layer of mucosa is present in the walls of stomach because of it. Because of it, even though there is a high concentration of HCl, it is not going to harmful to the stomach walls. Now, even the tears contains, if you take the tears of lacrimal glands, tears of tear glands, and richly contains this lysozyme, which is able to kill the germs or microorganisms. Then after this, third barrier of innate immunity is cellular barriers. What are cellular barriers? The certain kind of cells, cellular, nothing but cells. Certain kind of cells are called as cellular barriers, which are like polymorphonuclear leukocytes and monocytes and natural killer cells in the blood as well as macrophages in the tissues acting as the cellular barriers. The cellular barriers, they undergoes for, if suppose take cellular barriers, they undergoes for a function called phagocytosis, which means if suppose this is the macrophage and this is a virus or a bacteria. When the macrophages reaches to this virus or bacteria, immediately the macrophages engulf this bacteria. So this engulfing character is known as the phagocytosis. So that's why macrophages are phagocytes, which can engulf directly the pathogens. Now, fourth line of defense in our body. Fourth line of defense is the cytokine. Cytokine is a barrier that contains cells. Here, interferons, nothing but the cytokine produces some interferons. Cytokine produces some interferons. These interferons protects the non-infected tissues which are present in our body. Suppose if you have an infection on your leg, the remaining body parts should not damage or should not infect, which means so if you are not taking proper medications during infectious stage, the infections will move to the entire tissues of our body, externally, internally, and causes the death of the tissues. So that's why. To prevent the non-infectious tissues from infectious tissues, the macrophages plays an important. The macrophages prevent itself. Clear, students? So the interference of cytokines plays an important role to prevent non-infected tissues from infected tissues of our body during infections. Then here, let me say a few points about saliva and tears. If you take the saliva, saliva is produced by salivary glands, right? There are three pairs of salivary glands present in the mouth of buccal cavity. These three pairs of salivary glands going to produce the saliva that contains specific pH value, which is nothing but slightly alkaline. Now, slightly acidic, sorry. Now, saliva, which contains an enzyme called lysozyme. The lysozyme generally can digest the bacterial cell wall. Do you know that? Even tears also going to digest the bacterial cell wall. So that's why whenever the dust particles enters into our eyes, immediately lacrimal glands produces highest amount of tear or sweat, lacrimal humus that can prevent the infection by microbes in the tears or in the tear glands. Clear, students? This is about a fascinating topic called types of immunity. First type of immunity is innate type of immunity. Remaining type of immunities we are going to see in the next coming video. Stay tuned. We will meet in the next session once again. Have a nice day. Thank you.